All right, guys, today we're talking about taxes. Now, taxes can be a complicated subject, and we are at that part of the year where if you haven't thought about taxes and
it's
paying
coming.
your taxes, it's coming. It's here.
It's coming.
And so
Death and taxes.
What is that?
It's like the most sure things in life.
Really? Death
Yeah.
and taxes? That sounds like a really good... You should what is it? Trademark that. I've never heard that before.
You're going to make fun of me as if it's like some country saying, but it's not. Everybody says that.
Benjamin Franklin, I think, is the one who
coined it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or more, maybe he's famous for it. I'm sure somebody said
We're
it before.
digressing here. So,
Let's talk
all
about
right, taxes. So you guys might know when tax season comes along and you find out exactly how much you owe or how much you're getting, you kind of always get this sense like nobody else can be paying this much. Like I have to be paying more than my friends because this number is just ungodly of how much money the government has taken from my check.
Can I tell you a true life story for
Yeah.
me? Okay. So I remember when a few years ago, when I first started doing, now more than a few years ago, almost a decade ago, was first starting in my career, most of the time, actually all the time, I would just get like a small return. It wouldn't be crazy big, but I always got a return. And then one year, I had a video business and my video business kind of took off. And I did really well. And so I was really excited because, did really well with my business and things were going great. And then I sat down with my tax lady, Elaine.
She is the sweetest lady, though.
She's amazing, by the way. And she did my taxes. And for the first time ever, I owed. And I didn't owe like a little bit. I owed like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Independent contractors will definitely feel it, because there's always this big question mark. Like, I have no idea how much I'm going to owe. How do I prepare for this?
On that note, because of that, ever since then, when I sit down and do my taxes with Elaine, I'm always at like the edge of my seat.
He is always nervous.
Because I'm always nervous. I'm like, okay, what do we owe this year?
Like he like wears it like a coat. Like it's tangible anxiety. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But fun fact, you are not the one that's paying the most in America. Elon Musk, who is a little bit of a figurehead in the Twitter world, came out and said that he is paying $8.3 billion in taxes this year.
Wow. That is a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
His video business must have really taken off.
Between my video business and Tesla, I think we're pretty even.
SpaceX shuttle. There was some comedian that was talking about how, like, if you wanted to stay under the radar, have you ever seen that sketch?
No.
Where it's like Elon Musk's tax accountant, and he's like, "Look, I think we're going to be good on taxes. You just got to stay under the radar and don't do anything that's going to show up on like the news." And then it shows like a bulletin about a space shuttle being built.
Oh.
And he's like, "That's exactly what I didn't want you to do." So there are people that are paying more taxes than you. Everybody's got to do it. It's just part of life.
It's part of life.
And death.
Yeah. And if you're a believer, when we do our financial course or workshop, one of the things that Jesus teaches in the New Testament,
That's right.
Among many things about money, but one of those things is that you should pay your taxes. In fact, multiple times you see Jesus addressing that. So there is it's not a noble thing to pay your taxes, but it's definitely not the right thing to do to avoid paying your taxes. You need to pay your taxes. It's something we all have to do. And if you don't, the U.S. government will have something to say about it.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys.
Well, they'll got you. Okay, so some changes that we're going to go over for this tax season specifically. There are some, pretty big Bitcoin people out there, and thus far, you've kind of been able to slide under the radar. The questions on when it comes to tax filing have been somewhat vague, and the IRS has been fed up, I think, with losing out on money. Losing out on the money that's being exchanged on the Bitcoin platform and currency. So This is straight from the IRS website. At any time during 2021, did you receive, sell, exchange, or otherwise dispose of any financial interest in any virtual currency? So they are coming after you.
They are. And that's a lot because it's just pretend money anyways, right?
We'll talk a lot about Bitcoin in the future, but man, it's a lot. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, any of those payment platforms that you might have as an app on your phone that you use to, give cash to your roommate to pay for rent or pay a babysitter here and there. Like a lot of us use those various platforms to make day-to-day transactions. So not in 2021, but starting in 2022, there will be a big change when it comes to your taxes on those platforms. So in 2021, the cap, you could make up to $20,000 in transactions on those platforms without having to produce a 1099-K. Now in 2022, so starting in January, you're going to have to produce a 1099-K for any individual that you're paying that is annually at $600.
So that's for the next year's taxes.
This
So when you do your
coming year.
taxes this time next year.
So it's just kind of a heads up for what's coming.
Yeah.
So the industries that might affect in 2022 would be babysitting. Some people, if you have a tenant or a landlord, you pay via Cash App, then that will affect that. I don't know, any multi-level marketing products that you're selling or buying via Cash App or Venmo.
Yep.
Those would all be affected by that new tax law.
I'm just going to say that's a pain in the butt. That already sounds like a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it does. When I read it, I couldn't believe it. Samson couldn't believe it either.
I still don't believe it. I feel like that's...
In fact, Samson's really upset about this. I can't really explain it. And I'm like kind of feeling it like it's anger towards me or something. I don't know what's going on.
I'm angry. It's like a shoot the messenger type of thing.
I didn't create this tax code.
I'm blowing up the messenger right now. I'm like, what? That is
for
dumb.
sure.
I'm just going to speak my truth now, I guess.
Go ahead.
So I think it's really dumb to pursue this. I understand they're trying to just get as much tax money as possible.
Trying to pinch you for every penny.
Yeah, which, I guess that's what the point of the IRS is.
Yeah.
That's totally fine to me. I just think it's more of like the administrative side of it for the individual. That's a lot of paperwork and the likelihood you're going to mess that up
is high.
Very high. And so to me, that's just a pain in the neck to try to manage that.
It's influencing my decision on whether or not I'm going to use those apps at all, honestly, because it's just too much of a headache.
Yeah. So that feels weird to me that they would do that for such small amounts. I mean, how much are you going to get out of a babysitter in tax? I don't even know depending on what tax bracket she might be killing it and been the, $400,000 plus
babysitter in the region.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any babysitters killing
She
it like
is
that,
similar to our house.
maybe that's you watching this. Why are you even watching these videos? You should be making videos. Tell us how you make $400K a year plus on babysitting. But
you don't have to worry about one single thing, Mrs. Farr. I've got this babysitting thing wired. I've taken courses and learned CPR, and I've got excellent marks and certificates I can produce on demand.
The reality is, like, most babysitters are probably going to be in the lowest end of the lowest when it comes to your, no offense, you could be a great nanny and you're making a full-time salary, but most people, if you're babysitting, you're probably doing that as a part-time gig.
Yeah.
You're probably in college. You're not making a lot of money.
So it should be stated and clarified, though, that $600 annual amount, that cap, does not go towards personal transactions. Only when goods or
services.
Goods or services.
Yeah. So if like we were roommates,
And they were roommates.
Oh my God, they were roommates.
And then
right.
You were giving me your half of the rent.
Right.
I wouldn't have to do a 1099-K for you, or you wouldn't have to file those because that's not an actual.
Or if you're going out to dinner and somebody gets the check on one bill and then you send them Cash App for that, that's not what we're talking about because no services were exchanged.
Although, who is that person you're out to dinner and you're crossing that $600 threshold on dinner?
I'm sure it's been done.
Maybe over the course of a year.
Nobody watching our channel.
That's a lot of coffee or dinner.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears here for just a second. What is better? Exemptions, deductions, or credits? And we're going to
hold on. Let me answer.
Okay.
Okay,
Don't
so
look.
what is it?
Exemptions.
It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire here.
Is that your final answer? Exemptions, deductions, or credits?
Credits, I think.
He's right.
Oh!
He's right.
Yeah.
So the child tax credit, that was essentially just cash in your hands. It wasn't something that was deducted from your income that you could be taxed on.
And are you taxable? Is that taxable income if you
Credits
got it?
are not taxable income, so it's basically free money. So tax credits are the way to go. If you
I
can
love
get
you,
a credit,
IRS. Thank you for the free money.
We've gotten some free money this year. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having 2 babies, so
A write-off is a business expense used to reduce your taxable income.
Okay, well then why isn't it called a tax write-off?
It is!
So long form versus short form.
long form versus short form.
Okay.
What do we got?
So now this is everybody gets a standard deduction, right? And that's really determining factor if you want to go short form or long form. Long form is really when you're itemizing all your deductions and you're saying, hey, I did this towards charitable giving and I did, this I need credit for whatever, or I need exemption for whatever, or deduction for. So that's what that is. And so the basic numbers is this. It's $12,550 for single and married filing separate taxpayers, $18,800 for head of household taxpayers, and $25,100 for married filing jointly or qualifying widower taxpayers. So basically, if you're in any of those categories and you have itemized deductions that comes really close to that number, or just slightly above it, it might not be worth it for you to go long form. It might just be easier, cheaper, and make more sense for you just to take the standard deduction.
Here, if you learn nothing else from this particular video, which I wouldn't be surprised if you did, it is this: hire a CPA.
Yes.
When I was single and filing by myself prior to getting married, I would go into H&R Block. I'd sit down for 20 minutes, fill a couple of forms out, and then essentially walk out the door having paid about $150 to $200. I'm pretty sure they just filed on TurboTax for me, because I didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's really intimidating. So there's a lot of these different tax agencies that kind of pounce on that fact that you're not very comfortable in that space. So hiring a CPA is one of the things, I think the best thing that we've done, being able to save money on our taxes. It's a really great investment to have a professional walk you through that process.
Yeah. And also, I think especially if you're in that field, like I'll share a story here. We had some friends that both husband and wife are kind of independent contractors. They do a lot of stuff kind of on their own. And every year they owed a ton of money because, they're independent contractors and they do a lot of, businesses on their own. So they don't work for a company that pays, half their Social Security or whatever. They pay all of that. And so when it comes to taxes, they pay a lot. And so when we were like, hey, go to Elaine, go to our person or whatever, and we suggested it, and they did. And that year they saved a ton in what they owed for taxes. Because there's a lot of things that you might not know as like a layman to this thing, where you have a lot of little quirks and benefits in the system that you could be taking advantage of. Those are not loopholes. Those are things that are there for you to take advantage of. But if you don't know, you might not, and you might end up paying more. And there's no reason to pay more than you have to.
Right. And the process of selecting a CPA is pretty similar to what we recommend when you're selecting like a realtor. You want to, know that person. You want to have somebody else that knows that person, that has referrals, because that person might not put any effort into doing your taxes and might put the same amount of effort into doing your taxes as, H&R Block or TurboTax. So you really want to have a good connection with that individual and them have some referrals or somebody that that's used them and had really positive feedback.
Yes. And whoever you select as your CPA, I think the biggest thing is you just want to make sure you're comfortable with them, that they know what they're doing, they're smart, like Hope said. And if you have full confidence, I think that goes a long way in being able to walk through this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this tax season, there's 2 crucial letters that you should be receiving in the mail if you have not already. And these letters you cannot lose because the IRS has stated that they will not reissue these letters, and they're pivotal and crucial for your taxes this season. So what are those 2 letters?
The 6419, which is a detailed account of your child tax credit. So if you have kids, then you probably got this. We got this because we got child tax credit money last year because we had 2 kids. And so that's that.
So the other letter is 6475, and this letter only applies to the 3rd round of the economic impact payments, which were issued in March through December of 2021. So they also want to know that you didn't receive more than you were supposed to. And so if you did, then you will be expected to pay that back to the IRS.
Yeah.
So I hope this video was as thrilling for you as it was for me to research.
I will tell you, like when you say death and taxes, you associate both of them together. I could see why.
This was kind of painful. I'm not gonna lie, but it's necessary. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend like this was my funnest video to research it for. It really, really was not. But I'm also like Samson. You know, you get those nerves coming up on tax season, and you want to be informed, even though it's really painful to do so. And so we hope that we provided that for you and made it a little bit less painful. If nothing else, to know that we're in pain with you, and we also equally hate tax season. So Elon Musk, I hope you feel better soon. Thanks so much for watching that video with us, guys. We really appreciate you, and we want to be here for a resource for you. So please feel free to reach out with any questions that you might have.
Also, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you can stay up to date.